So, John, I take it this is or has been your daily driver for the last week and a bit, has it? This is what you're using now?
Yeah, I've been using it for about a week now. I really like it. A couple of things I did want to mention is that first, this version of One UI, which is 6.1, comes with a version of TalkBack 14.1. And I say a version because it has some of the features, but it doesn't have the most important feature, which is the image descriptions. For whatever reason, if you go into that part of the settings, there's only the two switches that have well, I shouldn't say always, that have been there for a while, icon description and text description. And the silliest part about it is if you go to what's new in TalkBack, it will tell you all about how you have image descriptions now, but they're not actually there. So for whatever reason, whether it's an oversight or a intentional decision, that's not in Samsung's version of TalkBack 14.1. So that's a little disappointing. Also, I think it's worth mentioning that in One UI 6.1, they have fixed actions on the recent screen. That was an issue in 6.0 where actions were broken on the recent screen. So you can now close apps by using TalkBack actions. And also one thing that needs to be mentioned, I know people are going to be asking, is that no, you cannot run Eloquence on the S24 series, or more specifically the S24 Plus, but I'm assuming it's the entire series. I was not able to install it on there, so it seems to suffer from the same 32-bit app restrictions that the Pixel devices have implemented in the past year or so. So definitely be aware of that if you're thinking of upgrading and you're one of those people that absolutely needs Eloquence.
So, John, did you use any AI features on the phone, and what are you comment about that?
I haven't used too many. I did try Circle to Search, and I'm sad to say it doesn't seem very accessible. If you so if if you use navigation buttons, obviously you can long press the home button with a double press and hold. But if you're using navigation gestures, you actually have to do a talkback pass through and then hold your thumb near or your finger near the bottom of the screen to bring it up. And then obviously you can't circle anything without doing another pass through gesture, but it does break it up into little parts that you can select, and it will do a search on that word, but it's literally like word by word. So you can select a word on the screen and it will do a Google search on that one word, but I haven't found a way to like highlight an entire sentence or anything like that. So out of the gate, thumbs down for accessibility.
Now, so I got that feature on my Pixel 8 Pro. And for me, all I need to do is long press something and it brings up the menu. And in there is the circle to or whatever, or search with Google, whatever the new thing is. However, I haven't been able to select, like, say, a sentence. And I think that would be because we don't have a way of selecting a sentence, for example. And so if they're going to be giving us this, and they want us to be able to use this, then they have to open up the ability to discriminately select on web pages. Because right now, if all I do is long press on a word, that's fine. But I mean, I can't select a sentence like John says. So give us that line selection or whatever, and we'll be good to go. And long press it, whatever. At least the long press for me, when I long press an image, it brought up that feature.
Do we think sighted users can select sentences and have it done, or are they also restricted to selecting words?
No, they could select whatever they want. Yeah, they can circle images, they can like scribble a whole, like highlight a whole paragraph. They can pinch to zoom, move the screen around, to make it easier to select certain areas. So yeah, it works great for them.
Any harder to install Google Talkback instead?
It's no harder than it was on 6.0, but it is different from how it was before. So the procedure is the same, except you can't get into the Google Talkback settings. Well, I should say you can't go into accessibility services and then open Google Talkback to assign the shortcut from there. So what you'd have to do is go into accessibility settings, then go to shortcuts, find the shortcut you want to assign Talkback to, and then choose Talkback from the list. And as long as Samsung's Talkback is uninstalled at that point, that Talkback that's in that list will be Google's Talkback, and you can assign it to a shortcut that way. So the procedure is just as difficult as before, no more difficult. You just have to go about it a slightly different way.
And what happens if you reinstall Samsung's TalkBack? Will the shortcut be replaced automatically, or it will still be active or working?
It will still be working. It just won't show up. So like if you go back to the settings and look at the shortcut, it will show you TalkBack in that list, and TalkBack will not be checked because now it's showing you Samsung's version of TalkBack. So Google's version of TalkBack won't be in that list any longer, but it will still be assigned to that shortcut. So if you then added Samsung's TalkBack to that shortcut, then when you did the shortcut, you'd get a pop-up asking which you wanted to enable, TalkBack or TalkBack. Just
Yeah, so it's the same as
more...
Android 13. I think it's here the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what about the sound and the overall performance of the device? I mean, compared to the S23 Ultra, it's not the same phone, I know, but it's a fair comparison, I think.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any drop off at all. So like going from the S23 Ultra to the S24 Plus, if you didn't use the S Pen, which I didn't use the S Pen, like the experience is just as good. It's hard to say if it's snappier, because it was so good before, and it's still really good. So I don't think there might be a slight increase in performance, but it's not something you would notice. I did notice that the haptics in the S24 Plus are a little weaker. They're not necessarily bad, they're just weaker. So I had to adjust. On my S23 Ultra, I had it set to about 40%. So I had to change it to 100% on this to get what felt like the same result for me. So the haptics are a little weaker for some reason. And the speakers, they seem very I haven't done like a side-by-side, but they get very loud. They're very clear. They're very nice speakers. Mic quality seems to be great, like it always is on Samsung phones. And the screen, for those who have low vision, although it technically has a higher peak nits than the S23 Ultra, it seems about as the same amount bright to me.
That sounds like you're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I am. That's why I'm kind of considering, canceling the S24 Ultra order, if Samsung doesn't ship it soon.
Yeah. And how's the battery?
It's great. It's so I use it screen on 100% brightness basically all the time, and I've yet to drain it. I think the lowest I've seen it at the end of the day is maybe 40%. So yeah, and for me, like that's probably close to the best battery life I've gotten in a phone, if not the best battery life I've gotten in a phone.
At 40% in the evening, that's absolutely beautiful. You can't go wrong on such a battery use. So, Samsung has been doing very well when it comes to battery management. And frankly, this is beautiful. I mean, even on my S23 Plus, I had that thing set up since that Monday. And believe it or not, I'm not a user of it much, but I haven't charged it yet because, I do very little on it, but I haven't turned it off. It's been on since then. And I think when I checked this morning, it's like 19%. So it's not bad. I like the battery management.
Yeah, I'm a very heavy user of my phone. I do everything on my phone. I have it on me all day. I probably, so that 40% I quoted, that's probably after like 6 or 7 hours of actual screen on time. And, I also use it for just listening to stuff, with the screen off, like podcasts, audiobooks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and on top of that, that's your main driver, and so I mean that is still a very good usage case, because if you look at 40%, I mean most phones would be down to maybe 30% or whatever. So it's really good. I like it.